What's up guys, it's the Devil's Talon here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at how you can improve your early game, mid game, and end game by analyzing one of the three best trios in West, and that is 4DR Strom, Reet, and Maken, and how they ended up getting first place in the second round of FNCS semis. But before I get into this analysis guys, if you do enjoy my content or find what I'm telling you helpful, please drop a like on this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on post notifications. But without further ado, let's just jump right in. Alright guys, as you can see on the screen, we have Reet's POV. This is going to be their first engagement of an 18 kill win in semis where they ended up placing first overall. Let's take a look at how they started off this kind of early game key and how they continue their momentum throughout the match. Now Reet is going to be sitting here on high ground. Notice he's waiting for his teammates to get there before he starts anything. They attempt a sniper RPG, but the opponents do a good job of protecting from that. But I want to just talk about how they do the setup. This opponent's doing a good job of setting space. But if you're going to look here, what's going to end up happening is kind of a pinch on all sides. Now, if you look over at Maken, Maken's already started applying pressure from here. Reet is starting RPG pressure, and 40R is up here. Now these opponents have to cover up a total of 3 angles, which is really difficult to do. And they kind of also a good reason why they decided to make this key. It's on south side of zone, so not too many third-party opportunities, and they have RPG. Reet kind of sitting over here box fighting, Maken doing the same thing. Nice crack, RPG coming in huge. Now 3 are extremely weak. Maken sitting here at the back applying pressure. Reet on the front half. Strom ends up getting an elimination right here. Reet is going to pick up these last 2. Nice. And look, they're kind of on scuff layers on the road ground, these opponents. And that's all set up from the wide start. They basically had one on the left, one on the right, one up top. And what that allows them to do is create so many angles and so many places for this trio to basically get cut off of. They have nowhere to go, and they have big RPG. Reet gets a crack on 1 or 2 opponents, and it makes that so easy. With this trio landing flush, pretty much as a whole, they don't have a ton of loot density, so they just outlast them. Let's just jump in the next engagement here. Good stuff early on from this trio. Let's see if... Alright, so we'll go about here. Reet does end up getting knocked. If I remember correctly, he does get a good res. They kind of trade. Kind of talk about what ends up happening here. Just kind of fast forward. So Reet's going to go over here and kind of start this engagement. Kind of crouch walking over in the open. Now he hears this opponent. He gets a little bit isolated. Peace controls this opponent, gets out smartly because the opponent has Dragon Shoddy. But here's what happens. He kind of gets isolated as a solo, gets coned off, as you see. This opponent does a good job, and then he gets wombo comboed. But it's okay. You're going to see 40R Strom is also... This opponent Psycho in, paying no attention to his back, gets cracked, and immediately 40R creates space. Gets his finish too. And then he does a great job of creating all this space, making it difficult for the opponents to find where he is. And then he's doing an excellent job of holding wall. And he blocks off multiple angles. This opponent actually ends up getting fried off the third party. They ended up just boxing him to get the extra material. So let's switch over to Reet's perspective. So they all get together and chug. There's other teams here coming into third party. Now Reet is going to be the catalyst. Good clicks peek. RPG already getting 1 tag on 1 opponent. 40R is kind of up top build fighting, along with Maken up here. Now they use gas can again, just like they did in the previous engagement. So use of explosive huge. We're going to go back to Reet here, sorry. I'm going to show you what he does here. That again is the same type of pinch, right? Notice again how Maken and 40R are up here and Reet's at the back end. They have a kind of a natural pinch. He gets cone right here. He's on a right hand peak. He cone slides. Now look, there's 3 people in here. RPG's so huge. He's going to get a triple tag here. We don't really get to see what ends up happening. He ends up knocking one, ends up finishing the other. They get the finish. And then 40R is going to take care of the last one as a solo. He's going to psycho in with a Metro Classic, if I remember correctly. But that's all created by Reet. They use gas can for pressure, creating a massive pinch. He actually gets a knock with the AR. 40R does. Reet ends up getting the finish there. His opponent's also weak, and he just comes in, cone slides immediately, and that is a GG's. Really good stuff. Reet's going to end up getting a couple more isolated picks. Let's just fast forward here. This opponent, I don't know what this opponent's doing, but sometimes good snipe from either 40R. It looks like a snipe from Maken, actually. And then Reet just finishes it up. So kind of a free pick on a solo shamble. Now we're gonna just see, you're gonna see another just isolated mid-game pick. This opponent is trying to sand. I have no idea what this opponent is doing. It's amazing quality semis. This doesn't make any sense. He does a good job of building here. Look at Reet. Nice, beautiful piece control. And then you'll see that Maken again has this pinch initiated. This opponent is cut off. Because of that cone, he's cut off at both walls. They end up owning both walls. There's nothing he can do. So good start. So 2 free mid-game pickups, isolating solos. Really good job. 2 free kills. We're going to skip through all of this. They end up going into another engagement. And then we will play their end game portion of the VOD review. Healing up. And now they're keying. So you're going to see 40R is pushing in an isolated, looks like a solo that's kind of split from his team. You hear the shield get cracked. Maken's going to actually end up cycling in there and get it. But that's just a good... They've now isolated in mid-game. They've isolated a total of 3 solos, making these just 3 points, free refreshes, free loot, bouncers, whatever they need to use. Just good listening right here. And then using this as just a kind of an AR shotgun, if you will. They end up getting a pickup. Good fry from 40R here. So now they're going to obviously try and key this as heavily as they can because they're at man advantage. They're getting up to go and chug splash all together, which is exactly what they do. They may not. I think they get one more. Maken gets 1 pickup here. He's going to crystal. I don't think he actually ends up getting this elimination. Nice 10. Nah, he ends up getting a stolen, but they get whatever surge they need, and I believe that is going to be the end of their kind of mid-game king. It is. Let's try and see if we can get to half and a half here, and then we can kind of go from there. Alright, we're starting off at half and a half. They're in a good position. We'll kind of fast forward through here. We're kind of heavy king this opponent, but they end up just kind of letting it go. I know they end up letting it go just because he's actually makes it to end game. Alright, we'll fast forward to the start of first moving. They're blessed with zone. You're going to see a nutty snipe from Reet right here in a second. Once moving starts, you're going to see a beam from 40R come out, and you're going to see Reet snipe this kid out of midair, which is just a good early game pickup. Actually doesn't snipe him, he just one taps him with AR. Now they end up having height, and you're going to see good fries. Excuse me. Excuse me. Coming out. And notice Maken's already ahead, creating a ton of space, frying off second height, tarping out of solo. And we're gonna see if 40R and them are playing. They're all actually playing same layer. No, I think they finally just went up a layer to kind of create a split layer. Nice, but just holding height, pressuring second height, whoever. And then ends up going up more. He splits some wood. They're up pretty ahead. They're spraying whoever they can, especially people in wood. got another favorable surge is there, but with all of their keying, they're significantly above. It's good tabs. You're going to see that 40R is going to get 2 picks back here on Shambles players. He's going to get a knock to the Storm, and then he's going to get a fry right here on this opponent trying to bounce her, and that is a GG's. Now Reet's going to go play down the fragger roll. 40R is going to do it, but he doesn't do it as well. And what you're going to see is they're going to have Maken be kind of the support player. They're going to give him infinite heals, which is really, really important in these type of games. They've done a great job of holding height. They still are significantly good on mats. 33 for Reet, 43 for Maken, and then 86, so 40R having a significant amount of mats. And then so now he's the one kind of leading ahead. And they're just pressuring the whole lobby. They just have not relinquished height thus far. And they're not going to, pretty much until the last zone. Now he comms to Maken. I'm assuming, hey, you play heal off, I'm gonna go frag. He gives them all the materials. Reet's already down there to kind of be a problem as well. Reet's going to come in huge later on. Trying to cut off things, he doesn't end up doing so. And Maken pressuring from up top. He's just kind of sitting up pressuring, seeing whoever he can shoot. 40R is doing the same thing, but he is going to go down eventually. And join in the chaos. Trying to take it, does not get it. And unfortunately, what he's going to do is cycle in with multiple, and then he's going to get him taken out. Reet gets up and out. They've just done a good job of holding height, but the way they're playing endgame is so smart. 40R trying to get some extra frags. They know they have the heals to win it off. Reet can go down and frag. Maken just has to survive. Good cracks on this opponent. He gets this opponent one tap. Treats the shotgun like an AR. He's waiting for the opponents to end it out, and unfortunately does not end up happening. Does a great job here. Gets 1 elimination. Gets 2 on the boy Latinzo, and he's going to end up trading with Nugs and Storm. And this is going to leave Maken to sit on high ground against Monk and Mateo. And you're going to see what ends up happening here. He's going to smartly, with 7 heals essentially and 6 floppers, what he's going to do is run into this old builds of metal. They make a bouncer play to try and steal height. Unlikely that this duo has as many heals as Maken does, and that flopper play early, giving them an easy victory royale. They're going to come up with 18 eliminations in the second round of semis for an easy qualifications for finals today. Really great job of picking smart fights early game, isolating a trio, using their power loot, so using gas cans and explosions, and then mid game, after they kind of got that over that kind of hectic mid game where that first team they ended up trading knocks, and then they ended up getting their finish, but they do a good job of rezzing and recovering. They create another pinch, use their power loot to end that fight fastly, and then you saw in the mid game just isolating Solos, doing a wonderful job of that. End game getting a favorable zone, keeping height all the way through, and then using the Harpoon 40R. I know I didn't show it, but I've watched the entire VOD. Harpoon's up 2 more floppers, gives the 6 to Maken. He still had 3 floppers to spare, so didn't even really need those 2 extra floppers, but just a good recognition. They basically send Reet and 40R to say, hey, you go down frag, Maken, you stay on ulti height, and then we'll get this to a night zone heal off. You'll win no matter what. We'll try to get as many points. And then Reet coming up with a clutch 3 kills in that late game. Maken smartly staying up height, going off. Really great stuff from this trio, and that is how they ended up getting first place in FNCS semifinals.